What are some of the things that you can expect happens when you get over that initial hump of withdrawal symptoms that come after you've decided that, okay, now it's time for me to be offline a couple of days a week, or at least decrease my 50 hours a week on the phone with 12 hours a week instead. You'll be much more in tune with things around you. And specifically, I mean, your brain, since it's bored by regular life, it will crave some form of stimulus. And with that, I mean, it will seek out some type of way to keep itself entertained or let time pass. Your mind will want to walk in nature. That's one of the things that I remember I started doing after getting offline. I craved some type of time pass, and walking in nature was one of those things. It started to become a hobby to take walks in the forest, discover new places, lakes, woods that I hadn't been to. I started exploring things around me a lot. So that's one of the benefits of being offline. You start exploring things around you. You start wanting to be in nature. And our body has an intrinsic, need to be outside in nature from time to time. Not all the time, of course, but oftentimes. And so that need doesn't get blocked by your mind that is constantly occupied with being on the internet. One more thing that happened to me as I decreased my time online is I started absorbing books. My mind needed some type of stimulus, so the next best thing on my offline days, or when I had spent my 3 hours for the day, is it craved some type of information. And although information on the internet is pretty high, fast-paced, and comes in short spurts, some information here, some information there. So when I started in 2021 actually, I started absorbing books. In my first year, in 2021, I think I read 50 books or 46 books or something in that first year. And I was one who hadn't read at all. It was hard for me to retain the information that I read. And as I started training up, you need to train your mind and your brain to practice reading again. So that's what I did the first year. Reading became a hobby, and I consistently started reading every day, every week almost. 46 books in the first year, I think. I have it on my Kindle. In the second year, I think I had 25 or something. In the third, I have 20. In the fourth, I had 26 again. And this year, I have 10 books, I think. Something like that. So since your mind is deprived of some type of information, it will gravitate towards something. And books, it's a high likelihood that for you, it'll be books. Another thing that can happen when you decrease your internet time and offline time is you basically start reaching out to people more and become more social, especially if you have people around you. Previously, I would be on my phone while my family was around me, and I mean, that's the case for a lot of people. People who are in restaurants, all of them have cell phones instead of talking to each other, and they look down all the time. But for someone who is deprived of the internet and has nothing to do, of course, the next best thing your brain would want to do is get some type of stimulus. And it'll most likely try to fill that sensory deprivation or stimulus with social talk. So you'll start talking to people around you more. Even if you're an introvert, you will start talking to those around you, whether that's family or friends. You will reach out to people more, you'll become more social. Third thing is you'll probably become more active. When you don't have YouTube or internet to fill your time with, your body has an intrinsic and physical activity that it wants to fill. And when you have your screen in front of you, you will most likely block yourself from that need. When you remove that screen, what will happen is you'll be in tune with your body more. You'll read the cues of the body. So if your body tells you to move and be physically active, you'll most likely listen to your body. So physical activity will most likely increase. You'll start noticing that restless. I started walking around more. I started being more active and things like that. So that might happen, most likely. You'll be more present. Since your mind is not tapped into the collective mind, you'll very likely be, silent. There will be more silence around you because you only have your own mind to tend to. And when you've dealt with your mind, digested and processed things that you need to process, you will very likely, have a more quiet mind and be tuned with reality and the reality around you. There will be no layer between you and reality. You tap out of the collective mind of the internet, because that's what the internet is. It is the collective mind of all of us. You tap out of it, and then you don't have a carpet between you and reality, in addition to your own stuff that's going on in life. So that's another thing that will happen. Attention span will drastically improve. And that goes back to what I said about reading books. You'll be much more able to, at least if you practice reading books, to retain information. And so that goes for books. You'll be much more able to have attention dedicated to the book. You'll start enjoying movies again. I remember that I thought movies was boring 10 years ago, when I didn't even know about this stuff. But now I can follow the thread of the movie and enjoy it thoroughly because I'm so enamored and enmeshed with it. It's so easy to retain what the movie is trying to convey. Your brain will be able to retain what a long form medium is trying to make you retain. Whether that's learning something in class, university for example. If you're a student, information retention ability will increase drastically. If you're enjoying movies or some piece of art, your attention span will be there to make you able to do that. Music, you can listen through albums. I don't usually listen to music anymore, but when I do, I listen to full albums. You'll be much more creative. One of the things that comes when you decrease your time off internet is that you'll be more bored, and you'll give boredom its rightful space, because boredom is actually something that is natural and something that is intrinsically built into the human experience. It's something that you need. And the reason I say that is because it's from boredom that creativity comes. When I started, boredom was the first hump that I had to go through, withdrawal symptoms and all of that. But then after a while, I started becoming more and more interested in doing something with that boredom and create something out of that boredom, which is I wanted to make sure that I had something to do. So I started writing books about this stuff. I started making music. I started a YouTube channel. I started creating other things, things that I don't necessarily show to the world, but that I just do for fun. So your creativity will soar. With boredom comes creativity, but you have to allow the space for your brain to be bored so that it can create new things. It's from nothing that the brain can create something, and that nothing comes if your brain is not occupied with the internet or your smartphone and the screen. So give it the space and the time to be bored, and you'll be much more creative. Entertainment will become much more entertaining again. If you remove yourself from something and you haven't done it for 24 hours, when you come back to it, it'll become much more entertaining. If you're steeped in something and drown in it day in and out, you'll most likely find it boring after a while. And you can come back to that 3 hours later, but it'll be just as boring. If you give yourself 24 hours offline, or just delegate your time evenly throughout the days, when you come back to it 24 hours later, it'll be much more fun to explore the internet and be on YouTube, listen to music, consume media. Because as always, I'm not saying this is not digital minimalism. I'm not talking about completely eradicating media. I'm talking about having a balanced approach to it. You can enjoy yourself, you can consume things, you can create things on the internet, you can use social media if you want, but I don't use Instagram and Facebook and things like that. But our goal is to be balanced with it. So if you want to consume things, you can. And with 24 hours off, or sometimes offline, you'll most likely start enjoying it again when you come back. Video games now are super fun to me. It was a point where it started getting boring 10 years ago. Now it's super fun. When I go to it, when I spend those 3 hours after an offline day, it's super fun. When I watch YouTube again, it's a lot of fun. But I tend to be just as stimulated from a podcast than from, regular videos. I don't use TikTok because, that's just brain damage in my opinion. So entertainment will become entertaining again. You will sleep better. This is something that I don't focus on that much, but if you don't have the screen on you before you go to sleep, obviously you'll sleep better. My sleep has gotten a lot better after I've balanced myself in these matters. So I sleep a lot better. I don't have anything going through my mind before I go to sleep. So that's a bonus. You'll be much more introspective. You'll be able to be with you'll be forced to be with the uncomfortable parts of you that we all disown so much. But when you balance yourself with your phone, you'll be forced to be with the uncomfortable parts of yourself that you need to process and digest in order for you to evolve as a human being. We all have shadow aspects of ourselves that we need to transmute and process and digest and integrate into our psyche for us to become better human beings. But with a screen between you and your psyche, you'll be, that's not healthy. You won't be able to access what you need to dissolve within yourself and integrate. So when you're offline, you have a lot of time to self-reflect, and that's good, and integrate parts of yourself that you needed, traumas that you need to heal, wounds, psychological wounds that you need to heal. It's a high likelihood that will happen. So that was it, some of the benefits of being offline. All around, you'll be a much healthier person. I sincerely recommend that you start, just like you go to the gym, start having offline days 3 times a week. Start balancing yourself with the internet. I highly recommend it. This is the next step for us humans. It's a consensus thing that we are supposed to be going to the gym. It's healthy for our bodies, but it's just as important to be offline a couple of days a week. So that was it, guys. Hope you liked this video. Comment, subscribe, like, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.